There, folks. Good evening. Good Saturday evening. It's party night out there for some folks, not for us here, but it is Sunday, June 25th, 2022 is the date, about 7:33 p.m. California time. Hanging out here with my beautiful co-host, Missy Mimes. How's it going tonight, Missy?
Good. How are you, the Earth Master?
I'm doing all right. It's hot.
Yes, it is.
It is very hot. I think
is.
we hit 105, 106 today.
It is cooking out here.
It's supposed to be 107 or 108 tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, latest earthquake activity here on the globe. By the way, we're going to do a little short question and answer show following this update. We got a 5-pointer, 5.7 coming into the South America region. That's going to be this earthquake right here on the map. There, it looks like it's right around the Peru-Chile Trench, just coming in. Been pretty active all over the globe recently, especially today. Let's go ahead and check out the latest activity on the map. Here is the EMSC model showing some earthquake activity ramping up around the South America continent. Birds are going crazy outside.
Did you turn on the display capture?
Let me double check. I did.
Okay, just making sure. Don't want to do the whole thing and they see globe.
It's been a while since I've done that, so yeah, this definitely not do that.
Yeah.
5.7 down in the South America region. Looks like it's just off the coast here. Also some activity into the Middle America Trench. Let's go ahead and zoom over here to the USGS map. We're going to get to those earthquakes there in Seattle area in just a little bit, but definitely seen some activity ramping up here around the South Sandwich Islands, the South America region. A lot of activity kicking up with this plate here in this area. 5.7 there, Peru, just off the coast. Pretty shallow earthquake for this region. 13 kilometers for a 5.7 there. Also some other activity prior in the day. A couple fours kicking off there. The South Sandwich Islands area seeing some deeper movement into the subduction zone here. Little trench area, South Sandwich Trench. But I shouldn't say little because that thing produced an 8-pointer last year. Definitely pretty strong earthquakes do build up here. But today a 4.8 and a 4.5, the latest one within the last hour. Somewhat deep, 67 kilometers there into the region. Working our way up around the Puerto Rico area. It has been pretty active in terms of movement around the Puerto Rico Trench. It looks like a majority of the activity today has been confined here to the southwestern portion, but earlier this morning and late last night we did see some activity work their way up here in that area. Let's see what we got for the states. Some spotty activity around the looks like that's Tennessee, right? Oh, North Carolina on the Great Smoky Mountains. A couple small earthquakes out there, 1.8 and a 1.9. It's got to be hiding underneath there somewhere. Yep, 2 earthquakes there. Pretty shallow earthquake around Weaverville, North Carolina region. Got the Walnut Mountains, the Smoky Mountains. Eventually I want to go over there and check those out, okay?
Definitely.
Gonna have to get over there and see those beautiful mountains of the area. I mean, I love mountains and trees, and it's just something I've been wanting to do. All right, what do we got here for the California region? Lighting up like a firecracker here. Some movement along the San Jacinto Fault Zone. Also one here around the, what is that? Yucaipa. Awesome. I'm glad you're here tonight. 1.4 in the Yucaipa area, 16 kilometers it looks like, at the northern end. Well, actually around the Beaumont Plain Fault Zone. The San Jacinto Fault Zone kind of extends up here further north. I haven't seen too much activity there in that region.
Beaumont, but we could have a...
Where's it at?
The Beaumont.
Oh,
Plain.
what'd I say?
Beaumont,
that's right. See, I'm glad. That's twice within a minute. Awesome. Activity up and down the San Jacinto Fault Zone today. Pretty amplified, it looks like. Also around the Mexicali and a little area down here off the Elsinore Fault System. Looks like some microquake movement taking place here near the Octillo area. 2.5 and a smaller quake within that region. A little spotty activity once we get north of the Garlock Fault Zone around the Ridgecrest area, Long Valley Supervolcano. And looks like the San Andreas Fault, the creeping section, some movement in the microquake department kicking up. Oregon, pretty quiet. Washington did see some activity up here around the Seattle Fault Zone. The PSN network folks saying that is no big deal, that they get swarms like that all the time on the Seattle fault system. Following the swarming down here, we've seen some further activity on the Devil's Mountain Fault that kind of extends over here to the Victoria area from about the Darrington region. This one here is definitely an active fault and capable of producing a large earthquake. I think I talked about that here a month or so ago. But the Seattle fault, I do cover that on occasion. Last 7 days of activity show some spotty movement around the area. But the PNSN network was saying that swarms are common. So let's go back to the last 30 days and check here for this area. I don't see a whole lot of activity specifically on the Seattle fault, which is a pretty lengthy fault zone. So I was kind of watching that pretty closely there. I know quite a few folks did feel an earthquake back in, when was it, 2001? Is that Nisqually? This is Washington, right?
Nisqually, maybe?
Is that right?
Nisqually, maybe. Yeah, I will be corrected.
So this one kicked up here. Seen quite a few comments saying that they felt this earthquake and that it was on the Seattle fault back in 2001. But that is untrue. This earthquake that struck in 2001 was a 6.8. It did not occur on the Seattle fault, but on a separate fault system. See exactly where it's at. They did mention it in the area. Let's see here. It was a result of normal faulting, but it has not been possible to determine which of the two possible fault planes indicated by the focal mechanism is correct. So it looks like there was a little uncertainty on where it occurred, but on the map here you can see that well, it's gone now. Where'd it go? It disappeared.
Right.
I hate when it does that. I wonder why it does that. It was definitely south of the Seattle area and also south of the Seattle fault zone, but that was a pretty large one, 6.8 back there in 2001. Now the Seattle fault kind of runs directly across Seattle. See this area? A couple different segments here. Runs from east to west. Yep. And this fault system is a lot more dangerous, I think, in terms of producing significant damage in the Seattle area if it were to go. Now, believe it or not, the last full rupture was back in 900. So we're talking quite a bit of time that has passed. The Seattle fault zone is multiple shallow east-west thrust faults that cross the Puget Sound lowland and through Seattle. Let's see here. Looks like a set of reports show that about 1,000 or 1,100 years ago, it was a scene of a major earthquake of about magnitude 7, an event that entered Native American oral legend. Pretty interesting little topic here from the Wikipedia article. But yeah, it looks like 1,100 years ago is when the last one, most likely due to magnitude 7 or greater on the Seattle fault. There's definitely been some historical records on it from the natives and their legends about rising waters and landslides and whatnot here in this area. Let me see here. There's a lot of info on it, folks. A lot. The hazard is the thing I'm kind of concerned about. I believe this earthquake, if there was a 7.0 or greater on this earthquake or on this fault zone, it could do more damage to the Seattle area than a 9.0 would do on the Cascadia subduction zone. Cascadia 6 sits much further from the Seattle area than the Seattle fault, which goes directly underneath Seattle. So imagine having that would be pretty significant. The Seattle and Tacoma faults are probably the most serious earthquake threat to the populous Seattle-Tacoma area. 2002 study of a bridge vulnerability estimated that a magnitude 7 earthquake on the Seattle fault would damage approximately 80 bridges in the Seattle-Tacoma area, whereas a magnitude 9 subduction event along the Cascadia would damage only around 87 bridges in all of western Washington. So, gotta watch this pretty closely, folks. You see any type of swarming going on along a major fault system that hasn't seen a full rupture in 1,100 years? Yeah, I definitely want to point that out. Not fear mongering, but just awareness. I tried to talk to the PNSN network folks there on their social media page earlier, and they're like, "We get swarms all the time. There's no pressure on the Seattle fault." Blah blah blah. So this just goes to show that there's definitely a lot of regional pressure, because we had this swarm this morning and then some activity up here around the Devil's Mountain Fault. So overall, regionally, tectonically speaking, we're not talking, humans are just little ants on this planet. But if you look at the plate dynamics, this is very localized and close to each other. Quite a bit of pressure within this region. Let's see, what else was there? Anything to mention on here? Besides the hazard, it's pretty great. I mean, it's just scary situation up there if that were to pop. No tremor tonight along the Cascadia. Nothing. I was kind of surprised by that. Last night we seen low activity outside of Seattle here. Could be contributing to some of the stress that we see in the area today. And also low activity was down here in Northern California, but nothing showing up tonight on the tremor count, which is a little odd. Anyway, some movement in general around this area that's shown up there on the map. What do we got here in the Colville area? A couple small microquakes. Long Valley supervolcano, by the way, still showing a little bit of movement. Most of this activity earlier this afternoon. We haven't seen any subsequent activity kicking up here. Looks as though that swarm may be dying off a little bit there around the Long Valley area. Some spotty activity throughout Nevada and Texas. Wyoming clear as a board. Is that right? Clear as a bell. Clear as a board. That doesn't, that depends on what kind of board it is. Could be a glass board, could be crystal board. All right. Yellowstone National Park. Let's go ahead and check out the lack of activity. Not a whole lot going on. Looks pretty clear far as any type of swarming goes. See what else we got up in Alaska. Beautiful state of Alaska up there. I would love to visit the area in the summertime. Went up there a couple years ago in the middle of winter. And it's still it's beautiful, but the sun only comes up for a short while. Pretty crazy to be sitting in a parking lot there around Anchorage and in 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, it's still dark. It's pretty unreal. But anyway, earthquake activity still stretching down through the Cook Inlet area, it looks like. Hawaii, southeastern region looks pretty... And looks kind of filled in a little bit tonight, about 22 epicenters of tremor. No unusual migration of activity, no unusual movement at any of the volcanoes currently. And of course, Kilauea is still continuing to do the eruption at the crater area. A little spotty activity throughout the Philippines and down into Indonesia. All this activity, some older movement. Most of the activity today has been confined here to the eastern section of the Pacific Plate and over here along the South America region, where of course we've seen that 5.7 kick off here within the last hour in the South Sandwich Islands. So a lot of backbuilding of pressure within this region. We'll see if that continues. 5.6 in Iran. This one was from late last night. The only new earthquake was from, looks like way earlier this afternoon, 4.0 in the eastern Afghanistan area. So yeah, kind of active, I would say, definitely within this area.
Yeah, on the eastern side for sure.
All right, what else we got? Earthquakes Canada map. Space weather is kicking up a little bit. Looking at some solar storms kicking up here. Stand by for a second. Check that out. Not a whole lot of new movement. This one here is from yesterday in the, looks like it's in the Ottawa area. Very small microquake. Space weather. That's another topic right now. We reached G1 class storms. Up here on the map, they only called for about a 3 to 4 kp index here. But it came in kind of pretty strong. Currently seeing that KP index up around the 5 level. That's due to the tilting of the magnetic field. That's going to be down here with the BT-BZ zone, showing the separation here, indicating some tilt, allowing a lot of the solar wind stream to pour in and amplifying those solar weather conditions that we're seeing at the higher latitudes. It's kind of died off a little bit. About an hour or so ago, this thing was really kicking up. Let's see what we got in the South Pole region. Looks like it's still pretty active down here. Looking at probably 60-70% chance of auroras popping up in the southern part. up here in the northern hemisphere, North Pole. Looks like, yeah, we got some pretty good conditions ramping up here, so I wouldn't be surprised people are seeing some auroras in the darker areas, meaning no sunlight, which unfortunately I don't know if we'll ever see that. It'd be nice if we did.
We will.
One of these days.
For sure.
Solar activity is still kind of iffy because these, they're not updating. They basically had some power outages around where these images are kept and stored and then uploaded to the public, and they're not accessible right now because, well, there's no power, I guess. But hopefully they come back and these get updated. This one here, I believe, is one of the more recent ones here from a, looks like a couple hours ago, right? About 3 hours ago. Still shows 3040, 3038 saying goodbye. This one's kind of grown a little bit, but there's not a whole lot popping up behind it. And it's hard to tell on the magnetic field if there's a whole lot of intermixing here. It's hard to tell in the black and white images. This one's old. This is from a few days ago, so these coronal holes are not facing us anymore. They've moved on, but it could be the ones that are providing us with the solar wind stream tonight and the conditions that we're seeing there at the poles. Let's see what else we got here, guys. Here's a little article today put out when things kind of amplified. The BZ component of the interplanetary magnetic field carried past Earth via the solar wind has been pointing south. Minor G1 geomagnetic storm watch is now in effect. Looks like the threshold was reached earlier. And yeah, looks, like I said, pretty active up there for those lucky folks. What else we got? I think that's about it. Missy Mimis, you got anything? Got any questions out there, folks, that, excuse me, that you guys might have? Stand by for just a second here while we're waiting on some questions. I'm going to do something here real quick. Stand by. I'm going to pull this up here and welcome all our members once again to the channel. We do have a new member here listed. Ray Addington, is that right?
Yeah.
That's how Ray Addington. Apologize for the mispronunciation there, but welcome.
Welcome, for sure.
Also, we still have Still in SoCal 42. I'm Jesse, Julie, Seismic, Robert,
K. We'll just say K.
Robert K.
I don't want to mispronounce.
I can say it at times. Robert V.
Vogel. Yep.
The Fly Lady, John D. J Fuentes 347. Thanks for being a member. Albert Sanchez Jr. again.
And Dolores.
Dolores, thanks for checking in. These are all our members here to the channel, and we welcome anyone who else wants to join in. We do some background stuff here, little non-earthquake related videos for those members and whatnot. Do post some photos as well. What do we got? Any questions? Any answers?
Any answers? Anyone got any questions out there? It could be space weather related, earthquakes, so on and so forth. If so, drop it in the chat, in the live chat, right, and we will answer that for you. I'll just give them a second in case there's anyone who wants to pop in.
Let's see, what do we got here for Yellowstone? Looks pretty mellow there. Alaska. Cascades. Nothing going on there. California, nope. One of these days, that's not going to be the case, though. I mean, we're just kind of sitting in a little time period of quiet activity with the volcanoes here in the States, in the lower 48 anyway. Alrighty, guys, nothing going on here. If you do, you can drop them in the video description or a video comment section, and we'll try to answer them at a future date. Hope everyone has a good night, and please stay safe out there. We'll chat to you guys a little bit later on.
Have a good night, guys. Good to see you, or good to chat with everyone.
Right? We could do live video chat here with everyone.
Right.
What's that called now? I don't do a whole lot of that. Is it Hangouts? Hangouts is gone though, right? I can't remember. I just don't.
I don't know.
I don't do a whole lot of live video chat here on the YouTube channel. As far as like video, but we could always add a green screen here in the background and
Right.
pop up in the corner. Well, we might do something like that in the future. We might do a little video overlay as we're doing the update.
That sounds pretty interesting. Pretty fun.
There's some of that activity up here in Chile area. It looks
I
like
see
something
that.
definitely brewing here. So we'll have to keep an eye on it, folks. Either way, just stay safe out there. Be prepared. We will chat you guys a little bit later. Stay safe out there. Saturday night, crazy night. I'm staying
We're
safe.
staying in.
Staying inside. Might watch a movie. I don't know.
Right.
We'll see how it goes.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Take care.